Leeds news. Toulouse midfielder eyed by Leeds United. Leeds are interested in Barcelona Abde. And West Ham versus Leeds United preview. Press conference has just finished, and we're going to get into that in the back end of this. There's only two stories in the news, so we'll crack on and get through these two first, and then we'll move into the preview for the weekend. So we'll start off with this, and according to Turkish outlet Takvim, Leeds United are interested in Toulouse midfielder Branko van den Boomen. Van den Boomen is a 27-year-old midfielder and has been described as one of the largest or biggest emerging talents in League this season. The player is said to be leaving Toulouse at the end of the season and is available on a free transfer. He has scored 15 goals and has 29 assists in his last two campaigns in France, and the Dutch midfielder has had interest from other clubs. What they say in this report is that there is an offer on the table from Fenerbahce, $2 million a year on a 3-year deal. But they also want to say the player is taking time to consider his options here and isn't rushing into a decision. They also go on to say that Aston Villa, Marseille, Feyenoord, Seville, and Wolfsburg are also interested in the midfield as well. But they do say that Leeds are very much in the mix for the player. So moving on, let's talk about another player Leeds are interested, a wide player. We've seen Leeds lose out on Barcelona winger Akumash earlier on this month, or the last month even. And Leeds are still pursuing a younger midfield winger option if they can get it. And according to Sport, Leeds are ready to pay €34.7 million for Barcelona winger Adbe this summer. The highly rated 21-year-old has impressed while on loan at Osasuna in La Liga, and Leeds are apparently said to have held talks with the players' representatives about a potential move. Barcelona are looking at selling a couple of players, and they do need to raise £200 million in funds this year in order to alleviate some of the debts that the club is suffering from. And they say that his sale is being considered. 34.7 million for a 21-year-old with one half decent season at Osasuna versus us selling Rafinha to Barcelona for 45 million. Doesn't seem like that value equates to being even. So not sure how I feel about that one. I don't think there's probably a whole lot in either of these two, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. Again, as always, Leeds' status in the Premier League will be the key differentiator on this one. If Leeds are in the Premier League, these signings might happen. If they're not in the Premier League, chances are they won't. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. And that's pretty much it. Right then, let's get into the West Ham preview. Then Sam Allardyce's press conference has just finished. A lot of the questions related to the fact that West Ham won last night against AZ Alkmaar and will have a Europa Conference League final to look forward to. That's been in Sam's thinking. So we'll go through the quick questions that he's been asked and we'll give an opinion at the end of this. We'll start off with it. He was asked about Newcastle performance and where his side are at following that game. And he said, look, there was 3 disappointing factors in that game that stopped us from winning it for ourselves, giving away 2 penalties and missing a penalty as well. He said, had we beaten Newcastle, he would have been 65% sure that we would have been staying up. But he said, no, we have to go to West Ham. We have to get a win. And he said, we have to make sure that we limit our errors. And the performance and the commitment needs to stay the same. We've got to reduce the amount of errors that we're making in key areas. Then moved on, he was asked about, do players have what it takes to handle the pressure? And he said that we have to see what the situation is after Saturday. And then he said that we need to put the best performance in that we can and deliver a 3-point scenario and handle the pressure, he said. And he thinks that players can handle it. He said that they've had a good weekend. He said it'd be interesting to see. But he said, look, if we do the right things, if we perform the same way, if the same commitment level is there and we limit the errors, we've got a chance. Asked about Bamford's condition following the social media attacks on him this week, and he said he was very upset about it, about the situation. He said the fact that it's his family as well isn't okay. He said Sam wants the police to do more about this and get involved in this, but he said that when it comes to social media, the police seem to say people can say and do whatever they want on it. He said the Leeds, Paddy has handled it well himself, and he said that the club has protected him as much as they can. and protected him with security as well. He said all he wants him to do now is to go out on the pitch and try and score goals. He doesn't think it'll affect his performance too much. And he said ideal situation is Paddy goes and scores the winner, and that's the end of that. So fingers crossed for that. Asked about West Ham and the best possible result was them winning last night the best possible result, or would have a defeat been a better result? And he said obviously winning is the best possible result. He said that they have a final to think about now, and he said it'll affect the players. Players won't want to get injured. He mentioned suspensions, but they don't matter. But he said players won't want to miss out on a final. And he said his job is about his team, and that it's going to be a case of seeing how many players David Moyes starts who didn't play in the game against Alkmaar. There was 9 changes against Brentford, and will he do the exact same thing again? We'll have to wait and see, and he won't know that. Asked about injuries, he said Stuart Dallas, Adams, Sinisterra are all out. Rocket is out as well with a small patella issue. But Liam Cooper is back in training. Outside of that, no major injury concerns. Asked about no Junior Firpo and what happens in that situation. He said that, look, we've got to look at maybe a system change and see what players we have available closer, and then have a look and see what West Ham put out on the field and how we can combat that as well. So an interesting one. You could see Pascal Stroke go back in at left back, or you could see Leeds go through 3 at the back and use Harrison as a wing back, or which is not ideal, but we have to wait and see. Asked about Georginio Rutter. There's so many people bring up Georginio Rutter every single week. Every week someone will say something online about give Rutter a chance, give Rutter a chance, knowing full well that none of us have seen him in training and how he competes versus other Leeds players and the level he's at. So good time to ask that question. And Graham Smith asked it, and Georginio Rutter, his opinion on Georginio Rutter, has he done enough to get a start, or is he one for next season? And Sam said, I don't know. I haven't seen him enough to tell you. He said he's only seen him play twice. The situation with a youngster coming in is he's probably a player for next season. And he said the price tag on his head hasn't helped the situation as well. It's a heavy price tag to hold. But he said, came in January, heavy price tag. The Premier League demands more than just skill off you as well. You need more than just ability to do well in the Premier League. So he said next season will be a big test for the player to see where he goes. So that's the third manager now that's pretty much said Georginio Rutter's not ready for the level yet. So I think we can stop asking, can we give Georginio a try and give the kid a chance to develop and give him until next season. Asked about the comment he made last week about having to outrun opponents, and is it possible to increase the intensity that players go through at this stage of the season? And he said it's easy if your mind is in the right situation. Then he gave an analogy about if I point a gun at you, you'll run faster than you've ever ran before because you think you're going to get shot, or you freeze and you get shot. So I think it's a mentality issue. Will these players freeze on their situation, or will they be able to run harder and faster than they have before? So an interesting one. Sam was happy with the comment. He loves a headline. How will you channel the pressure based on Saturday's results? So this question came up again in another format, and he said it's do or die, fight till the end. And he said with the right level of intensity and the right level of temperament. He said the right control as well. We don't want to lose the game. He said a loss of control has caused problems with Leeds in the past where they've done everything to try and score the next goal. They've left themselves wide open at the back to concede goals. We need to have more clean sheets. And he said less risk or more risk will be a situation that will be based on where Leeds are coming into the final ebbs of the game. But he said ultimately we just got to reduce the amount of panic and errors, and we have to make sure that we keep clean sheets. If you keep more clean sheets, we'll be safe by now. Asked about Adam Forshaw, can he start at the weekend? And he said, look, it's just a situation around his body. You know, he's had a lot of injuries, a career of injuries, and he said we have to handle him with care. He will be a vital part of what we do on Sunday. And he said, hopefully we can get him on the pitch and hopefully he can stay on the pitch. And he said he's a valuable asset to the team. And moving to the end of it, he was asked about the errors that the team have made. We've already covered this slightly, but we'll talk about it again. He said, if you look at the first goal, it's the body shape of Junior Firpo. Instead of running backwards, if he just turns his body sideways, he can win that header and there's no issue. And then about Robin, Max Fober in the box, he said, we talked about this. There's just no need to tackle in the box. Stay on your feet. And he said, there's no need to tackle. Everyone will look to go down in the box. Any slight touch or people will look to dive over a leg after contact, they'll drop. And he said we need to make sure that we just don't give them the opportunities to do that. He said centre backs and goalkeepers are an interesting one because they can't afford to make mistakes. We've seen that this season. If a defender or a goalkeeper makes a mistake, it's usually a goal. We said we're midfielders and strikers can get away with a few more mistakes and wait for the next one. Defenders and goalkeepers, it's such an important position, he said. And he said it's not just about running out from the box and playing ball out from the box and all that stuff that they do. He said doesn't believe in that. He said it's about defending well and defending well as a unit. And if we keep more clean sheets, then we'll be safe. Simple as that. And then he just went on to finish up by saying that the confidence of the team and the application of the team has been really, really good. And he thinks it's improved since he's arrived. But he said sometimes they're just still a little bit hyper. And this probably comes in from the Jesse Marsh style, this frantic panic kind of causing panic moments. And he said they just need to know when they're at the right situation to calm it all down, put their foot on the ball, slow the game down when they have to then pick the right pass. He said that needs to come into it. He said we can be better in possession. We know we can. So you need to improve on that. And then he said just calm around the ball, retain possession, know when to go forward, know when not to. And he said look to play the right pass at the right time. He said under calmer situations as well. So that was pretty much it from his press conference. It's an interesting one. It's huge. It's a must win. It is. We're at that point of the season there where it is an absolutely must win game. If Leeds want to get anything from this season and try and retain their Premier League status, and they need to go out and beat West Ham in London, which there's a lot of things going against us. There's the London hoodoo that we can't seem to break. Have to break that. And then there's lifting the players up and try and keep a clean sheet against West Ham down there as well. And then depending on whatever West Ham put out on the pitch. So there's a lot of factors in this. For me, it's got to just be keeping Antonio and Bowen quiet. If they can keep the two of them quiet, Leeds have a chance. Crosses are going to be a big part of this game. We need to limit the amount of crosses that West Ham put into the box because of how they play. And then try and capitalize on mistakes that they might leave. They do leave the door open at the back a little bit of times as well, and try and make sure we can capitalize on that and get at them and try and get a couple of goals. So that's going to be it. I will see you Monday. Have a great weekend. Fingers crossed, 3 points. Best of luck. See you then. Bye.